Okay, in this homework, we're going to practice how to find slope when when a graph is given. So the formula for when there's a graphed line to find slope is rise over run. And every single time we're going to use the 2 points that they give, and we're going to make a right triangle, counting 1 down. And since you're going down, that's a negative. 1, 2, 3. So we're counting this way, 1, 2, 3. And that run is 3. So the rise is -1 and the run is 3. We have a negative slope because it goes down from left to right. Number 2, same thing. We're going to use the 2 lines that they give. We're going to write the formula down, rise over run. And we went 1 to the right and 1, 2, 3 up. We know this is a positive slope because it goes up from left to right. The rise is 3. The run is 1. M equals 3. Number 3, same thing. We're going to use the 2 points that they gave us. We're going to write the formula down, rise over run. We're going to count down 1, 2, 3, and that's a -3. And then we're going to count 1, 2 to the right. So the rise is -3. And again, we have a negative slope because the line goes down from left to right. For number 4, we're going to make our triangle and count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. M equals rise over run. The rise is 3 and the run is 2. And you can keep it in rise over run format. Number 5, we'll use the 2 points that they give us. Count 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Put the formula down, rise over run. The rise is 5 and the run is 3. Final answer, 5 over 3. Making the triangle, writing the formula. We're going to count 1, 2, 3 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. So the rise is 7 and the run is 3. Going down to number 7, creating the triangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, counting -6, going down, 1, 2 to the right, that's positive. Remember the formula. It is -6 for the rise and 2 for the run. When you have -6 divided by 2, we could say that that is a -3 slope. 2 goes into -6, -3 times. And you check that the line goes down from left to right. It does. That means you have a negative slope. So 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. So the slope of this line would be 7 over 3. And that basically is how you do rise over run. On the back of this homework, we have find the slope of the line through each pair of points. So this is a little bit different. There are no graphs given, so we're going to use a different equation. We're going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So instead of graphing these, I'm just going to figure out how to do this without graphing them. So every time that you have coordinates listed, 8, 10, the first number is x. So we're going to call that x1. It's the first x you read. This is the first y you read, so 10 is the first y. This is the second x that you read, and this is the second y. So once you label them like that, x1, y1, x2, y2, now all you have to do is substitute into the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 formula. You have you have y2 minus y1, so y2 is 14, minus y1 is 10, and then x2 minus x1 is negative 7 minus 8. So the numerator is 14 minus 10. The top of your fraction is 4. And the bottom of your fraction is negative 15. Negative 7 minus 8. That is good enough. Same thing here. We're going to do x1, y1. Label first x2 and y2. Then you can write down the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You substitute the values in. There's 2 minus from the equation, from the formula, and then y1 is 1. x2, which is right here, is negative 17 minus from the formula, and x1 is a negative 3. You notice you have like back-to-back negatives, and right here the back-to-back negatives exist. When you have back-to-back negatives like that, no numbers in between, it becomes a plus. It becomes a plus, plus. So it's like keep, change, change. So the back-to-back negatives becomes a plus, plus. So now you have 2 minus 1 as the top of the fraction, that's 1. And you have negative 17 plus 3. Remember, you're adding 3 to 17. So that's negative 14. And that's the slope. To go down here, again, we have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Negative 20 is x1. Negative 4 is y1. This is x2. This is y2. So we're going to figure this out. M equals, and we're going to put y2, which is negative 10, minus a negative 4, with y1. Then you're going to have x2 minus x1, so it's negative 12 minus a negative 20. x2 minus x1. I'm going to change these to positive because you have back-to-back negatives. So you have negative 10 plus 4, and that's negative 6. And you have negative 12 plus 20, and you have 8. So this is a negative slope, and to reduce that, you would do, you divide by 2, and the final answer is negative 3 over 4. I'm going to label x1, y1, x2, y2, and my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y2 is negative 8 minus y1, which is, I think that's a negative 5. x2 is 0 minus negative 12, which is x1. I'm going to add these because you have back-to-back negatives. They turn to positive. So I have negative 8 plus 5 is a negative 3, and over 12. So 3 goes into both of these. So you have negative 1 over 4 reduced. x1, y1, x2, y2. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y2 is 16 minus a negative 6. I'm going to add that up right now. 15 minus a negative 19. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So on the top I have 22. On the bottom, 34. And you could leave it like that. Another one, x1, y1, x2, y2. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You have negative 9 minus 9. You have 7 minus a negative 6. And that becomes a positive. Negative 9 minus 9 is not 0. It's negative 18 over 13, 7 plus 6. And that's your answer. x1, y1, x2, y2. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this becomes a substitution problem. We have negative 15 minus a negative 20 plus plus. Negative 18, which is x2, minus x1. So a little bit different here. Negative 15 plus 20 is 5. And then negative 18 plus 18 is 0. You cannot divide by 0 at all. So 5 divided by 0 is a divide by 0 error. So we say that this line is undefined. An undefined line is a vertical line. So your line looks like this when graphed. Undefined. You cannot measure the incline or the decline of a vertical line. It's like a wall. Labeling the next one and writing down the formula. Now I'm going to substitute the numbers in. y2 is 12. y1 is negative 18. x2 is 11. x1 is 12. Oops, there we go. I knew that was going to happen. 30 over negative 1. So m for this last one is negative 30. The last couple of 17 through 26, it asks you to find the slope of each line, just the slope. So we want to write the equation of the line down. This is y equals mx plus b. The number before the x, the coefficient, is always the slope. And the other number is the y-intercept. So each time we're going to list, since it just wants you to list the slope, we're going to list the number that is before the x. Remember, it has to be in y equals mx plus b format. So the number before the x in this one is negative 5, so that's the slope. I'm just going to do the y-intercept as well. It's the other number, so that's negative 1. Y equals 1/3 x over 1/3 x minus 4. So the slope is 1/3. And the y-intercept is negative 4. Number 19, you have a negative 1/5 in front of the x, so that's the slope. And you have a negative 4 as the other number. Number 20 is a special case. You have x equals 1. And just let me sketch x equals 1 for you. X equals 1 is right here. You have x equals 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. So this is the line x equals 1. So you notice that there's no way that you can find the slope of this line because it is a vertical line. So this is undefined. So I sketch things like once it's like x equals whatever. I just remind myself by sketching it that it is a vertical line. M equals 1/4. That's the number before the x. The other number is the y-intercept. M equals negative 2/3, the number before the x, and b, which is the y-intercept, equals negative 1. M equals negative 1. That is a negative sign, so there's a negative 1 in front of the x. And b equals 2. That's the y-intercept. M equals negative 1 again. B equals negative 1. So special case for number 25. It must be in y equals mx plus b format. If it's not, you have to solve for y. So remember, you have to get y alone first. So you subtract 2x from both sides. You get 3y equals negative 2x. I'm going to put that first, plus 9. So I want it to be in y equals mx plus b format. To get y alone, I have one more step. I divide by 3. So now I have y equals negative 2 over 3x plus, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. Now I could solve for the slope, which is negative 2/3, and the y-intercept, which is 3. I think this says plus. I have to solve for y. Subtract 5x on both sides. This is 2y equals negative 5x plus 6. Then I divide by 2 on both sides. And you get y equals negative 5 over 2 x plus 3, because 2 goes into 6 3 times. Now they might write this as y equals, since negative 5 over 2 is negative 2.5 x plus 3. They might write it that way. And m equals negative 2.5 or negative 5 over 2, and b equals 3.